welcome back to the I Don't Know Running podcast, where we share our experiences that make running fun and sometimes not so fun. I'm Lewis, and I'm a self-admitted lazy ultra runner who has a co-host.
Oh,
this time.
I didn't know if I was going to be able to talk.
Just welcome our guest.
I'm Mitch. I'm mostly absent.
Yeah, Mitch is back joining us. He has been on, holy smokes. Huh? I mean, you've been on a race spree.
Yeah.
It seems like. Then the spring.
Yeah, it's been almost every weekend.
We have been, I said this on the last episode, between you racing, work popping up, because last week was kind of it popped up kind of a deal, right?
Yeah.
Where you were gone.
Yeah, because it didn't work out last weekend because I had to leave on Sunday to go to Mississippi to go to work. And I think you had some stuff going on. We just couldn't get anything together.
Yeah.
So I was here until Saturday or Sunday.
Well, I don't know how that worked. However that worked, it's just been a crazy last few weeks. Then we had the whole PT Sports Pro thing thrown in there. You've been doing a ton of races like New Hampshire. Hey, I got an opportunity to go do this. I'm going to go do it. So
yeah,
which makes sense because you're down to 47, or I'm sorry, 7 left.
8. I have 8
8 left.
Yeah, because I got DC in there, so it makes it I've run 43.
Oh, I thought
states and U.S. territories, but
wait with Bayshore. Oh no,
DC.
I think that's where I was messing up.
I add on, so DC, I don't count it as Virginia, I count it as DC because I have a Virginia race as well.
No, I was messing up because at the time of the last recording, you were doing Bayshore.
Oh.
And I ticked off one just thinking, oh, he's doing another marathon.
Hey, fun fact though, Bayshore was my 99th Michigan race.
Holy cow. Race or marathon?
Marathon or further.
Wow. Holy smokes.
So as we talk about this, Charlevoix coming up, Charlevoix will be my 100th
wow.
Michigan marathon or further. Isn't that dumb?
That's a lot of marathons just in Michigan.
I'm trying to spread it around now.
Yeah, finally. Well, this episode is going to be a race recap.
Yeah.
We are going to talk about
Revel White Mountain
in New Hampshire. You did this 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago?
I don't know. It starts to run together a little bit. So it seems like forever.
It seems like forever, but it probably hasn't been that long.
No.
Because you ran, was Bayshore a week later?
Riverbank was a week later.
Oh, okay. Man, we have got so much to cover.
Yeah.
Which those will be coming out in the next episode-ish, something like that.
Maybe.
Somewhere in the neighborhood.
We want to keep you guessing.
Yeah, some other race recaps coming. However, this one is going to be a pretty straightforward race recap of White Mountain, New Hampshire Marathon by Revel.
Yeah.
Which you've done.
This is my second Revel race.
That's it?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I was thinking it was like 3 or 4.
No. So
we
did the one out in Nevada.
Nevada. That's what I was going to say.
So Kevin's been trying to qualify for Boston. He did the Last Chance, and then there's that sneaky hill on the backside of Kent Trails there, right by Butterworth. And you hit that thing like 6 times. I think the second to last time got him, and he missed it just by a couple minutes.
Really?
I said, I think if you're close, you should do one of these. And I pointed him in the direction of one in Utah that's coming up.
Okay.
I've got 2 in Utah already. So maybe I do it for fun.
Yeah.
But talking about that. But this is the funny thing is I got all these bags on the table here is I get the shirt in my packet every time, and I throw it in my truck or I throw it somewhere and I think I threw it. I've got bags in there with a shirt in them that I've never worn. So I think I got done with a run a couple weeks ago or last weekend. I don't know. It runs together.
Yeah.
And I find a Riverbank run shirt from 2022 in a bag yet. I'm like, oh, I got a shirt in here.
Not even opened.
Not even open, not even worn.
Speaking of shirts, I don't think we've talked about this. It all runs together. We've said that. Glass City this year, their shirt is awesome.
I didn't get a shirt because I got a jacket.
Oh my goodness. Really?
They're usually ugly.
It is awesome. I've probably wore that since Glass City. I've probably wore it 4 or 5 times.
You know, I got this thing that I wear a Glass City shirt like every morning when I run. Like if it's a jacket, because whoever's got the joke in our group with the Glass City jacket is that's the captain.
Oh,
so whoever
really?
wears that, we don't care about Boston or anything like that,
Yeah.
but the Glass City jacket.
That's the running captain that morning.
Yeah. So I've been wearing nothing but Glass City stuff the last couple of weeks. Apparently I have a lot.
Yeah.
So
well, this year they knocked it out of the park. So yeah. That made me think of that.
So in that, I haven't, I threw this in the truck for this episode and I didn't even put the shirt on. And
did you even look at it?
I kind of did. It's not bad.
No, that's cool. That's a cool shirt. And that is,
yeah.
Is it just straight cotton?
I don't know if it's cotton, but it's a comfy cotton. Yeah. I don't need any more I don't need tech shirts anymore.
No.
Like I don't wear them. I buy shirts to run in. I don't need
a tech shirt to run in.
I don't need a tech shirt to run in. Look at that. Another beard hair. That's great.
We were talking about that earlier.
But yeah,
it just shows up.
Yeah. And then, so I didn't even wear it yet. I looked at it and I threw it in a bag. And then, of course, you can get personalized bibs.
Eyes up here.
This is to keep, like where I put my bib. I don't need people staring there. So I just got to remind people.
Funny. That's a good one.
And then, of course, get rid of this bag. The metal is interesting too. Like it's kind of 3D.
Oh, wow. That is different. That is a lot different. Why? I wonder why.
I don't know. It's funny. It's one of those things like we talked about bling. Everybody likes bling.
Yeah.
But then you put it on and then it either, like some people throw them in a shoebox. I throw them on a rack and it gets kind of buried that way.
Yeah, it's a cool metal. That's cool. I don't know why or what must be somebody just came out with a different style metal. But yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Rudy was telling me, he's like, how many do you have? Like, we should do a picture of you
medals
of you wearing all your medals. I'm like,
my God.
I said, that's like 1,000 pounds.
I don't think you could.
I couldn't even stand up.
Oh yeah. Cause even if it was half a pound each.
It's not 1,000 pounds, obviously, but it would be heavy.
Yeah.
Like
it would, yeah. You wouldn't be able to do it.
I wouldn't be able to do it. Cause I tried to do it when I had I'd run 30 races and it's like, oh my gosh, you can't even put them all on.
Well, when you came in however many weeks ago with all those, what were those? Just your big medals that you had?
Yeah.
The bling. Oh.
But it was all
Arkansas.
Little Rock. Those alone. Those are a couple pounds a piece.
Yeah. Just putting those on, that was what, 4 or 5?
There was 3. Yeah, there was 5 medals because there was a little total. Plus the one from the trail race that I did up north. North Country. Yeah. Yep. So between those alone.
And that was 5.
I don't know if I could do it.
Yeah. You'd have to have some special, I don't know, contraption to hold them all.
And I'm kind of lazy. I'd have to figure out how to put them back up on that wall and it wouldn't be worth it.
No. Would be cool to do is some kind of a picture of them all though. That would be neat. Somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know what it would be, but it definitely wouldn't be wearing them. But this is, we're not talking bling. We're talking Revel, New Hampshire, White Mountain.
Yeah. So what I did is I got a weekend flight. Like I got a cheap flight. Relatively cheap. It was decent. And then I did it different this time. So we as in, my other personality.
Yeah.
I flew in.
You were solo this time.
Yeah.
On your own. You just went out yourself.
Yep.
Knocked it out and came back.
Ben was out there. And then Ben Edgars. So he was out there. We had talked about it, but he went out with his wife. So
gotcha.
I did see him at the race start. I think that's the only time I saw him.
Did you fly out? Yeah.
I did.
Yeah, that's right. You caught a cheap flight. Yep.
Flew into Boston. stayed in Boston the first night, didn't get a car. So I did it differently. Instead of I was going to sleep in the car, got a hotel room and slept near Boston and just got a car the next day instead. And then drove to New Hampshire. It was a couple hours away, and stayed in a not great hotel that night. Nice area though. I mean, it was a beautiful area. And then same thing, dropped the car off. So I only had the car one day. So it was another cheap way to go, I guess, or cheaper way to go.
So then what did you do once you dropped the car off?
Took the hotel shuttle to the airport.
Oh, okay.
So just trying to look at creative ways of not spending as much money that way. But because before I was thinking, oh, I'll just sleep in the car. Yeah, that kind of sucks. I'm not against it.
Depending on the race, depending on where and all that.
But yeah, so didn't even spend any time in Boston. I had a little trouble getting a car to take off. Like they didn't have cars ready.
So you flew into Boston, got a car, drove to a hotel, stayed.
No, didn't even took the hotel shuttle.
Shuttled to the
hotel. Yeah, to the hotel from the airport.
And then how did you get to New Hampshire?
And then the hotel was right by the car rental place. So walked across and got a car and then drove to New Hampshire.
Oh, gotcha.
So limited the time that I had
knocked off a day of having the car.
2 days. Really?
Oh, on the back end too.
Yep.
Gotcha.
It was funny though, as I was waiting for the hotel shuttle, you're under I don't know, you've been to the Boston airport, I assume, but waiting for transportation and underneath the airport there.
Yep.
All of a sudden they stop all the traffic. Well, apparently somebody with a box truck tried to drive under there and they're too tall.
Oh my goodness.
So they had to let all the air out of the tires, and that guy was driving through and he's still bumping the roof as he went through there, and they got rid of all the traffic and all the cops were following him as he goes through there.
Oh my gosh.
So it kind of delayed things. I was pretty tired. It's like, I just want to really because I flew in late. Like that's the cheapest flight I could get was to fly in and not get there until like 10 o'clock at night. So I was thinking, well, if I can, otherwise flights the next day, you don't know what time you're going to get there. And then you got to try to still get to New Hampshire. So I flew in that night and then, I just wanted to go to sleep, and then you're hungry. You're trying to find, I need something
and you're just waiting for the hotel shuttle here.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. What a fiasco. But it seems like that happens all the time, but it was just funny of all things. I'm just like, I just want to go to sleep and come on.
Yeah. That's no fun. So you get through that, but then let's talk about the actual race. So you head up to New Hampshire, and
I had to be up. I'm trying
Where is this at, New Hampshire?
I'm not going to remember right now.
Okay.
I remember the city for a minute.
I'll look it up.
Conway.
Oh, there we go. Conway, New Hampshire.
Yeah. I knew it was somewhere written on there. So I had to be on the bus because it's a point to point. Revel races are downhill. So So I had to be on the bus. It was like 3:45 in the morning.
Wait, so you drove from the hotel? No,
I stayed overnight. Yeah.
Stayed overnight. What time did you go to get your car?
It was like morning-ish, like 10 o'clock in the morning.
Okay, so you drove up.
It was a lot earlier than that, but I had to wait for a car.
Gotcha.
And then I just drove out there. I'm trying to think. It was a couple-hour drive. Got to the hotel. I think picked up my packet. Kind of an older building or whatever, not a big deal.
Yep.
And this was like the first year of this race there.
Oh.
And it might be the only year they do it.
Really?
Possibly. I don't know. I just the stuff I was reading on the website, it was kind of interesting. No big deal. Getting the packet, doing all that stuff. Going back to the hotel. Not much to do.
So you had another hotel, a different hotel in Conway somewhere.
Yeah. Just on the main drag. It wasn't far from the race the bus pickup, but I had to get up at like 3 a.m. to get on the bus. It was crazy. So
to get bussed out, and then you ran back into Conway.
mm-hmm. So I just, got a quick dinner, go back. Pretty much what else you're going to do? Try to get some sleep. And then I actually heard my alarm because that's earlier than I normally get up. That's earlier than, I get up at stupid time now anyway.
Yeah.
And, so you had to be there super early, and I probably got on the bus sooner than I should have. And again, I keep learning these lessons. It was cold. So it's White Mountain. So it's up, they drive you up a mountain, and there's still snow on the side of the roads.
Oh, really?
I had like arm warmers, or I wore an old dress shirt that I was just going to give away anyway. I was like, I don't want this anymore. It wasn't enough. I probably should have gone to Goodwill and gotten a jacket or a coat to throw away. Because I had shorts on and stuff too. I needed more, but I was up there shivering.
Because when you were waiting.
Yeah, because I waited. I was there over an hour before the race started because of the bus leaving so early.
Oh my goodness.
So I'm up there and I didn't want to get stuck, and you kind of figure that out. You don't want to be the last person on the bus because you want to be able to make it. And then anyway, sitting there, I did run into Ben. And then somebody walks up to me and says, "You're from Grand Rapids." Yeah, And I'm like, she taught, well, I'm usually at Packet Pickup at Grand Rapids and at the marathon, and I've seen you there and stuff like that. Like, yeah. And she says her name. I say, "Oh, you do the podcast." I'm like, "You're the one person that listens. That's great."
Oh, that's funny.
But it was funny. It's like you run into people in the strangest places.
Yeah.
And then Ben was there. I talked to him for a while, but I was shivering. I should have had more. They gave you the Mylar blankets to put over you. I had
before the race.
Before the race, I had 2, and I'm just
still freezing. Oh my goodness. No gloves.
They gave you gloves in the packet. So I wore no gloves from in the packet. So yeah, it was cold to start. But then
is that okay? So wait, this was the first year?
First year for this location.
Race. Yeah, this location.
But it was full. Like there was a lot of people in that parking lot. Like I'm talking to Ben, I'm standing by the Porta-Johns, and we keep moving back to the other side of the parking lot, moving back because the lines. And then pretty soon we're like on the grass. That parking lot was packed. I don't even know how many people ran that race, but they get a lot of people to run. For a first year, you're thinking,
yeah, that's a lot.
But people probably trying to get a BQ or 50 states. It's good.
Yeah, because New Hampshire is one of those states. There's probably not a ton of marathons. There's just not a ton there. Like, what would be that one? Maine probably doesn't have a ton of marathons.
Yeah. I would agree. I can name a few of them because my main was Mountain Desert Island.
Oh yeah, there's probably a couple of decent ones there. The Vineyards is up there or something like
Could be.
that there, but or I'm thinking like even Montana or something like that, right? There's just some of those states just where they don't have a big populace aren't going to have a ton of different marathons.
I'm thinking like Rhode Island. There's just what do you do? Run around the state?
Yeah,
it's kind of.
What have you done, Rhode Island? Mm-hmm. What was the race there?
I can't remember.
I
can't remember the name of it right now.
Do you remember what number that was?
No, I wrote it down. It's been a while. I did Connecticut and Rhode Island back to back.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, the race starts and you're downhill, and I'm flying. Like 7 miles in, I'm thinking.
Do you know the elevation on this one?
I think we lost about 2,500 feet.
Oh, wow.
And 26.2 miles.
Okay.
But I'm flying.
That's significant.
It is.
I mean, that's 100 feet a mile.
Yeah. So I'm booking and I'm just flying. I'm thinking, this is fantastic. I'm going to win.
PR time.
I'm going to win. All those people ahead of me, I'm going to pass them. But I'm flying, and you're thinking, my gosh, I should do more downhill races. I know better because I did one before, but yeah, I'm running and then it's like, that starts to kind of hurt a little bit. I should probably train for downhill. And then I can't remember the exact point, but they had a little weird out and back the out part was uphill. So I'm coming around the corner and I'm like, you guys suck. Like I'm running, and that wrecked me a little bit.
I felt like it was
because it was a decent uphill though.
Oh, it was.
So
anyway.
the out and back, you had to kind of cut over and go up this hill and back. And I'm like, oh my gosh, and that's a ways. I think because we passed the halfway point because that's where all the porta johns for all the half marathoners were. But
was a mile out and back, or was it?
It was probably a mile and a half. It was probably
2
to 3 miles total. The out and back was. It was quite a ways. 2 miles, possibly. Yeah. So I ran up there. And coming, like I'm flying, coming back down. Then I had to use the bathroom, of course, and my usual. But you see a lot of people then. At least you see a lot of people that are going out there, and it's like, yeah, you tell them it's almost there. Kind of. Not really. But I tell you, and then coming around the corner, and then I just had it in my head. I hadn't run under 4 hours in a while. I at least got to get under 4 hours because I was probably looking when I was first starting out at that 7 miles, I was going to be in the 340s. Easy.
Oh.
I'm thinking I should be able to hit 340.
Wow.
Not to be.
Because of the little out and back
and the
porta-john stop.
The porta-john, and then my legs were getting tired. But towards the end, I was able to hang on. I kept just thinking, I was looking at my watch. It's like, I got time. Like I can get under 4 at least. I don't remember what my time was exactly, but
sub 4 though.
It was sub 4. And I just rolled it in. And then I finished. And then I was thinking in my head, I was going to wait for Ben. And then I didn't do a drop bag. So I'm walking around in my wet clothes. And Andy had to take the bus from the finish line to where the car was parked. So I had to wait around and do that. And I'm walking around, and of course I got my phone, I got a credit card in there, and I'm freezing. Well, just so happens they're selling sweatshirts at the finish line.
Amazing.
It was expensive. But I think it was worth it.
Yeah. So I felt a whole lot better once you put that on.
So I had I don't know if I think I took off my other shirt and I put that sweatshirt on, but it was expensive. It was an expensive mistake.
$60 or something.
50. Yeah. And it was one, I like hoodies. It wasn't a hoodie sweatshirt, but I'm like,
you want to talk expensive clothing. So when did you, oh no, it was the next one. That golf trip I went on. Holy smokes.
Are you wearing one now?
I am wearing one right now.
And how much was that shirt?
This was actually an inexpensive one. That was $80.
Huh? That was inexpensive?
That was an inexpensive one.
You better wear the heck out of that thing.
Yeah. That is this a total sidetrack, but you talk about expensive gear. Holy smokes, man. When you go to a PGA event and you want to buy clothing associated with that event, so stupid expensive. Like this shirt at that event, $110. Not kidding. That's the normal. That's across the board. Every golf shirt hanging on the wall, $110.
Oh my God.
And that's just the normal. Like if you want to go with like, I don't know, some specialty something or other, it's probably more. So anyway, I understand expensive shirts, but this is a once in a lifetime. I say once in a lifetime. Like this isn't a trip I'm going to take a bunch of time. So I did spend a little extra on a couple of things. But anyway, let's digress with Dave here. And
we need him here once in a while just to get us back on track.
Get us back on track. So let's go back just a little bit. So race-wise, I mean, it sounds like the race was fine. Just a normal Revel race, downhill. 8 stations were fine.
Yeah. They always get a lot of volunteers, it seems like. A lot of people come out. Yeah.
They probably have a formula that works to get, I mean, because they do a lot of races.
Yeah.
And they must have something that works to just get volunteers. Because you've talked about that before. They do a good job of that. And this was the first time.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's impressive to say this is the first time in this location and they were able to pull it off like they did.
That's cool. That says a lot about them as an organization to put on races.
You think about all the busing, all the, the buses, it was a little early for me. The busing from the race, the finish, back to the parking lot where the buses picked up, all of that stuff. And it was busy. Like the roads, a lot of cars, a lot of traffic and stuff like that too. And they made it happen.
Was it closed roads?
One side of the road was closed.
Okay.
So they had pilot cars going through and bringing cars back and forth.
But even that, you'd think, man, just all the details to make sure all of that is in place in an area that you haven't been to yet. Like I get it's a lot of the same kind of things, but you still don't know the area. And so, well, that's cool. Let's go back before we cross the finish line and talk about that side of things. Let's just talk about Paga Pickup. How was that? Pretty nice, nice expo, that kind of a thing.
I saw those same sweatshirts at Packet Picket, and I said, no way am I spending that much money. But it was like...
They know what they're doing. They even know, we'll set up a bus here, so they got to take the bus back to the car.
They were thinking.
There will be people that want to buy this to wait for a friend.
All I really needed to do is I could have done a drop bag. And I could have, if I would have brought an old shirt or something, I mean, shame on me, I guess.
Yeah.
And I could have done the same, like I could have brought throwaway clothes.
Yeah.
And I could have thrown something in there that I didn't care about, like to wear at the finish line, and I would have been good to go.
It's funny, when you got here, I mentioned, we had kind of moved some stuff around and we did a big closet cleaning. And you know how many shirts I threw away that were throwaway, quote unquote, shirts that I've never thrown away?
Too many.
For a race. We'll keep that. I'll use that as a throwaway. And I never use it as a throwaway. And matter of fact, we went through the closet and I was like, not keeping these. I'm not keeping these anymore. I never end up using these as throwaways. And sure enough, I think I pulled 2 or 3 back out and said, I'm going to throw these away at a race one day. I'm going to do that. So
you got to run a race.
You
won't need it at Charlotte. It'll probably be
I know, it'll probably be 80. Anyway, so Expo is cool. Typical. They have all the supplies and all the stuff you need. Pretty smooth getting in and getting your bib and all that.
Yeah, not an issue at all. Like coming in
and the town. Was that in the town of Conway?
Yeah.
So what's the town of Conway like? Just Hollandish, Grand Rapids-ish, somewhere in between?
I don't know. I think more of an eastern state. I don't know. Typical. One main road through.
Okay.
Kind of
small town.
Kind of a small town.
But a cool atmosphere at the finish?
Yeah. It was at that same place that the Packet Pickup was. So it was like an old hockey rink or something, and it was all outside. The only thing is they didn't really have a lot of finish line food. They had donuts. But you could buy stuff. Like they had food trucks. I don't know if I mind that so much, but it'd be cool if they'd give you one ticket. You know? Because you spent a lot on the race.
Okay. 110-ish. Something like that.
It all kind of
blurs.
It was probably a 150.
50. Okay. So you should get a
give me a
$1 hot dog or something.
Give me a sandwich.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because you look at that. We run this beach, which we just talked about. That
I know. I got my money's worth there.
You had that's why Revel charges a ton and doesn't give food because of people like you at those kinds of races.
That was great.
They're like, we can't afford people to eat.
Well, it's the same thing at Baton Death March too. Like they had food trucks at the finish, but then I don't know. I'm torn on that because if you're doing the race, you can afford to buy a sandwich or whatever too, but it gives you options.
Yeah.
It's not because a lot of races, the food that they end up having is really not that great. I think it puts more of the effort on the vendor. Like the vendor comes in and brings a food truck.
Yeah, when I get done with the race, I do just kind of want, I don't know, it doesn't have to be a meal. Well, that would be nice. Well, you look at like GR. Grand Rapids Marathon would do hot dogs a lot. I don't know if they do it anymore.
They do hot dogs the last few years. Before it was always chili.
Well, the first year I did it was hot dogs.
Really?
Yep. And that goes back to whatever, 09-ish, something like that. Because I remember finishing and here I got my money's worth of hot dogs. Now keep in mind, that was my first half marathon. So I felt like that was a forever distance. And I think I probably had 5 or 6 hot dogs. And I didn't even put anything on them. They were just straight bun and hot dog. Man, they were the best hot dogs ever. But anyway, even just something simple like that. It is nice.
It is. It's just, you think about it, like what it takes to do that. Then you have to have the volunteers. You have to do all that stuff.
Yep.
I agree.
Oh, that's true. You do.
And the thing about the food truck thing is they got their own
licensing and all that. Yeah, that's true.
So any health department stuff is really on them, not on you.
Yeah, I wonder, I know very little about it, but like Glass City, they do the, nope, not Glass City. Or is it Glass City? No. Churchill's.
Oh, I didn't do Churchill's.
Oh, well, I've done a couple. Well, like even Groundhog, they do the chili or something,
they do
or soup or whatever.
But they just pour it out of a can in there.
Yeah,
it's nothing special.
but it's good.
It is good.
Like it hits the spot, especially in February when it's so there is something to that. But Churchill's was very simple or similar. It was something like that, and that's in November or something like that. So it hits the spot.
It depends on how big the race is too, though. So Groundhog isn't huge. I think it's easier to deal with.
Churchill's isn't huge either. Same thing. Yeah.
But if you try to do that at Glass City, you'd be in trouble.
Yeah, that's true. And they just give out. Well, no, they give
out like a box or something. But we always go to the OC tent, so we just eat.
Oh, that's right. We get the food there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so White Mountain, New Hampshire. Anything big coming from that other than kind of a cool medal? Like anything stand out or, sounds like it was very well organized.
Yeah, it was really kind of an in and out. Like it wasn't,
How was the course itself?
The course was good. It just runs down the mountain.
Was it picturesque or was it?
Yeah, it was pretty, and it kind of started in the dark a little bit. So you don't, it was just starting to get light.
Okay.
So but yeah, it was really pretty. I mean, it like where the parking lot was where we staged, there was like mist coming in. I thought it was going to rain. So I was worried about that. I'm like, that's all I need is to get wet.
Yeah.
But, and I sat down at one point too, and I thought I had that little blanket thing under me, and I got my butt wet sitting down on the side of the curb. I'm like, but.
Well, cool. Well, we will leave a link for White Mountain, New Hampshire Marathon in the
or just the Revel or the Revel series.
Yeah. And or Revel. Yeah, both maybe. And you can check them out. Sounds like they put together some very good races. I would highly recommend go checking them out. Find a race in your area. Find a destination race, because that's what you've done.
Yeah.
Both of them. And they do that. They do have the one, I think you said they have one in Phoenix or something, right?
Yeah.
Revel Phoenix or Arizona or something.
I'm thinking there's a couple different companies that do fast races like that.
Okay.
There is one, the Mesa Marathon. I don't know if Mesa, I don't know if it's associated with Revel or not, but it's another one that's a pretty fast one. There's a new one in Vegas. It's not under Revel, but it looks like it's somehow associated, but it's another downhill race coming up.
That runs into Vegas.
They call it the Las Vegas Marathon. I haven't looked at the course that close, but it's downhill again.
Yeah.
So it's a downhill race.
Yep. Different from the one that Nicole and I have done, which is really cool because they don't even do it anymore, I don't think.
Yeah, I think they changed it to a half.
Half, that's it. Yeah. And but you run the strip, which is pretty cool. So anyway, White Mountain, New Hampshire Marathon. Sounds like a great race. Really cool medal. What's with the moose?
Apparently there's moose there. I never saw one though. I wanted to see.
Makes sense, I suppose. Well, cool. That's awesome. Sounds like it was a fun marathon, and the travel went better than when you had all the trouble.
But it was going to New Mexico where I got stuck. Yeah.
Sounds like all the travel worked out better there, even though you had, seems like, way more logistics to deal with on this one with the whole shuttle and all of that.
Yeah,
But,
it was easy.
anyway, if you're looking for one in the New Hampshire area, Conway, Revel, sounds like this might be a one-time. We don't know, but
They retire the races like
Huh.
often. Like you can look,
Interesting.
if you go through their website, you'll see ones that they don't run anymore.
well, make sure you check to see if the race is still going, and that could be one you want to check out. So go to Facebook, check us out there. Go to YouTube, check us out there. Listen to us on all of your favorite listening platforms, but more importantly, share it with somebody, like it, do all of that. That definitely helps to grow the podcast. Sharing it and talking to people, that obviously helps. But with that, that's going to wrap up this week's episode of the I Don't Know Running podcast. Be sure to tune in next time as we share more about what we just don't know.
Until then, happy running.